spiritually when we are sleeping? So, what happens spiritually when we are sleeping? Okay, well, a lot of things. So let's go into some dream state for a little bit, okay? Just bear with me for a second here. All right. You know how people say, good question, because they're trying to think of an answer? Good question. Good question. All right, let's get into it. Let's go. A lot of things happen in the dream state, okay, spiritually. One thing is you're healing. Any bad dreams, and I've talked about this before. You get a bad dream, you know what you're doing? You're purging. You're healing PTSD. You're healing OCD. You're healing injuries and trauma. You're healing trauma. If you got a lot of trauma in your life, pray for a bad dream. You don't want dreams of fairy tales and dreams of beautiful rainbows and dreams of, of mountains and whispering winds and all of that. And that's your dreams, okay? If you've been through trauma, if you've had problems, and maybe you haven't been through any trauma, but you still don't want whispering winds in the willows and nothing but happiness and fairy tales in your sleep, because you're not doing emotional healing. You're not getting behind the wall that's up. You're not getting behind the wall that's up. Okay? What God has done, and if you don't think I don't have a right to talk about what God has done, look into the medical medium books, okay? And look into the medical medium history. I am unfortunately, and I say unfortunately, hear a voice. Have you listened to Angels, Demons, and Spiritual Tools? Let's get that one up. Have you heard this? Have you guys heard this? Anyone here who hasn't heard that, you should go. Go to Amazon.com, go to Spotify. All right, so there's a wall that we put up. It's a wall that's given to us by God. It is a God-given wall. It is a God-given right, so that we don't have to have it come down on us every day while we're working, while we're talking, while we're living our lives. Our wounds, our emotional pain, our emotional suffering gets behind that wall for a reason. It is the God-given wall that we deserve and we have and we harbor. And that God-given wall that we have protects us, so that when you had a bad breakup in a relationship and it was a terrifying one, a lot of that information or that experience went behind the wall. So you can function and go find a new person of interest, of where you want a relationship, a new person who's a possible eligible person, and so forth. You want to be able to move on with your life, because if you live in the perils of what's behind that wall, you can be in trouble. But that what's behind that wall will build up and build up over time. You guys with me? And as it builds up with betrayal, trust breakage, hurt, harmful stuff happening, losses, struggles, relationships, family problems, friendship issues, co-worker problems, where you feel like you're damaged, co-workers. Most of it gets stored up behind the wall in your brain, in your consciousness. And it sits there, and it sits there, and it sits there. Yes. And guess what? It sits behind there so you can function, you can work, you can play. You know it's there. You know you've been through hell and back. You know you had a problem with someone or something. You know you had some trust problems and trust breakage. You know you had a loss, whatever that loss could be. Maybe you lost a pet. Maybe you lost a little doggy, a kitten, a cat, a dog. Whatever happened in your life, you know it's there. And then you go to sleep at night. And your dreams, they shouldn't always be fairy tales and rainbows and leprechauns holding pots of gold and all kinds of beautiful trees whispering in the wind in the willows. Instead, you got a wolf chasing you, and it's chasing you down in the dream, and then right before you can get out of the way, you wake up. That's what spiritually happens when we sleep. Right there. And what that is what that wolf is. A wolf is a bad, bad boyfriend from a long time ago. That wolf is some kind of harm that happened a long time ago. That wolf is something that happened a long time ago. Maybe some hurt, maybe a loss. Maybe you lost something dear to you, that means everything in the world to you, and you don't even know why you're alive right now. But you survived, and you survived it. And you're a survivor. But then you go to sleep at night, and everything's going good in your dream, and then all of a sudden you enter a haunted house, and all of a sudden creepy things are coming out of the walls, and now you're running, and you trip down the stairs in your dream, and you land at the bottom of the stairs, and there's a Grim Reaper standing there or something like that, and then you wake up. This is the hurt, and this is the harm. And maybe it doesn't even go like that. Maybe your dreams are much different than that. And there's something entirely different. Maybe they're just an uneasy feeling. Maybe they're just a sadness coming out in your dreams, in your sleep. Do you see? And that sadness that comes out, that's the healing. And that's the stuff behind the walls. That's the stuff behind the wall that God has given you the right to have that wall. So that stuff sits behind the wall because you don't want that stuff all dumping out at once in the middle of the day when you're sitting there and you're working and you're living your life. And you're trying to function. And that's what spiritually happens when you sleep. It's one thing. I mean, we can do 10 medical medium books on it.